Sleeping Beauty 2019. The original Sleeping Beauty tale tells how a jealous witch, armed with a poisoned needle, puts a beautiful princess into 100-year sleep to be eventually woken by a kiss from a handsome prince. The version collected by the brothers Grimm was derived from a tale published in 1697 as La Belle au Bois Dormant, the beauty sleeping in the woods. What would Sleeping Beauty make of the world today?
Good afternoon. Is this a Sleeping Beauty Visitors Centre? A pompous man asks this question, standing in front of a reception desk that bars the way to the narrow spiral staircase leading to Sleeping Beauty's bedroom, high in a turret of Castlemaine. Behind the same desk, a young lady sits wearing the chambermaid's uniform, a simple black dress with white lace collar, apron and belt, all starched as white as teeth, sensible black shoes at one end and a small white cap at the other. She is 23 years old. Not a beauty, but attractive for all that. Her badge says, "Mary Higgins, how may I help you?" Mary looks up at the man.
Well, let's see. There's a big sign over the door saying, "Welcome to Sleeping Beauty's Visitor Centre." There's a rack of pencil sharpeners, tea towels and pillowcases, all with Sleeping Beauty's image. And finally, the TV screen behind me shows a beautiful girl fast asleep in bed. Quite a few clues there, really.
Mary has been Sleeping Beauty's carer for almost 3 years. She is the 14th in a line of carers stretching back in time. Soon after getting the job, when she was shown the bedroom in the west turret, Mary asked Mrs. Turnbull, the head of the household, "What am I supposed to do up here?" "Dust, my dear, dust," said Mrs. Turnbull, pointing to an ancient feather duster hanging from a hook. "You probably know how Sleeping Beauty was put into a long sleep by a wicked witch whose poisoned needle pierced the girl's finger almost 100 years ago. She doesn't age, and she doesn't, shall we say, deteriorate. She has no bodily functions, but she does get so awfully dusty. And the cobwebs, oh my! She's like a magnet for spiders. Maybe the static electricity. Something to do with the magic spell. Your job is to visit every day, gently dust her down, clean away the cobwebs and make sure the room's clean. Oh, and don't forget to sign the roster before you leave. You might also touch up her makeup, my dear. We want her to look her best." Mary soon discovered the other part of her job was to vet visitors. Some powerful foreign royals arrived at Castlemaine, hoping they would be the one to end the beauty's long sleep and live happily ever after with her. Today's visitor, Jukebox, is one such royal hopeful. He is a man of great stature. His head is held high, his chest covered in gold, and his belly protrudes over the embroidered flared trousers that hide his elevated shoes. "I've come to wake her up." "Fat chance, fat belly," thinks Mary silently.
"Jukebox, is it? Give us a tune then," she teases.
"Ho, ho, ho, very funny. Have you any idea how many times I've been asked that? Anyway, I'm here to wake Sleeping Beauty by kissing her on the lips."
"Oh, no, you're not," says Mary. "We only let princes try that, but you can take a look at her upstairs for a small administrative fee. And you can take a selfie of yourself with her. It's really quite reasonably priced. We also offer a range of postcards, mugs and tea towels and other stuff, all at very fair prices. The pillowcases are especially popular."
The next visitor to arrive is Count Down.
"I'll wake her up, you'll see."
"Here we go again," thinks Mary. Count Down, indeed. She pauses, silently counting 3, 2, 1, before launching into her spiel.
I'm sorry, we only let Princess try to wake her. You can take a look at her if you like for a small administrative fee.
But I'm a royal, he bellows. Look, my blood is blue. I come from a long line of people wearing ermine and gold and occasionally murdering each other. Of course I can wake her up.
I don't care what colour your blood is, you can't touch her. The spell was quite specific. It has to be a prince, states Mary firmly. We get kings, dukes, earls, marquises, barons, counts, lords and royals of all kinds from all over the world. One of the first visitors was Earl Lee. We've had Baron Ground, and you just missed Jukebox. We had a dictator last summer, and a few princesses who fancy their chances, plus the odd queen. But only princes are allowed to have any physical contact with Sleeping Beauty. It's health and safety, you know, more than my job's worth.
Mary has been building a tidy nest egg from allowing visitors a sneaky peek inside the beauty's bedroom to take a selfie. She also sold occasional Sleeping Beauty screensavers. She planned to retire as soon as Sleeping Beauty woke up, if and when that happened. Mary's main job involved delicate use of the ancient feather duster. Every day she traipsed up the stairs and lightly whisked the duster about a bit before signing her name on the roster and making her way back down to the guest entrance. The duster was very unlikely to wear out from overuse in Mary's hands. She worked with a little more enthusiasm on Tuesdays before Mrs. Turnbull's weekly inspection, but the duster spent most of its time just hanging about. In truth, Mary spent most of her time upstairs sitting in the bedroom, texting and chatting with her pals on FaceTime, telling them she hates her job and needs a change because she's bored witless. After all, her patient was hardly likely to complain. One day, 6 huge lorries rumbled carefully down the bumpy lane through the forest in front of the castles.
Where the hell are we?
asks George, the driver of the first lorry.
We're sitting in the cab of an articulated lorry on a narrow road somewhere in Dorset, answers his mate, Barry. You should be in management, Barry. You answer my question perfectly, but provided me with no useful information at all.
That wasn't a perfect answer, says Mike, the other passenger. I'd say we're sitting in the cab of an articulated lorry on a narrow road somewhere in Dorset, and I am desperate for a pee. George stops in the narrow lane, and 5 more trucks stop behind him. 17 men, all wearing black T-shirts with the word crew on their backs, jump down from the 6 lorries, and 16 unlucky trees get a good soaking. One tree is shared by 2 men. "Hey, watch what you're doing," one grumbles. Barry stays in one lorry, battling gallantly with his mobile phone and sat-nav system, but eventually he jumps down and walks over to where George is zipping his flies. "I figured out where we are. You should drive onto a sharp right bend and turn down a narrowish path just to the left there. The castle is just through these woods." "Young man," says George, "if you are right, you'll go far in show business in the years to come. If you're wrong, you'll go even further, and much, much sooner." The trucks, once repopulated, continue slowly following Barry's directions until they arrive in front of Castlemaine's imposing battlements.
"That's an imposing face-aid," says Barry.
"You'll need a face-aid if you don't shut up. It's a facade, not a face-aid, you ignorant apology for a man," says George. "Come on, let's get down to work." 3 days later, segments of a stage have been unloaded and erected. And what a stage it is! It bristles with lights, microphones and black boxes with lots of knobs. Cables of all colours snake across the platform. On the roof there are more lights, flamethrowers and hidden fireworks. There are 2 drum sets, numerous guitars, a mandolin, trumpets and horns, all in place. On both sides of the stage, 40 megawatts of speakers make a reasonable impression of the white cliffs of Dover in black. The large lawn is now surrounded by a tall hoarding, designed to make sure only people who pay for their tickets see the concert, even though anyone within a 10-mile radius will be able to hear it for free. Mary watches the event being set up in front of the castle through the window. Watching distracts her from boredom and provides a little excitement. Even the occasional dusting is forgotten. She has the best view from the bedroom window high up in the turret. Come Saturday evening, concert fans begin to gather. They stand and sit on the grass in front of the stage. Bouncers walk around looking menacing, with bored, world-weary looks on their faces. The crew run around, frantic to complete last-minute jobs. Everyone looks up as a helicopter lowers itself from the sky to land on the castle's immaculate lawn. Cheers and screams rise as the band steps out and runs across the lawn, waving as they disappear into their backstage dressing rooms. At around 7:30, only half an hour late, a warm-up man bounces onto the stage to introduce the support band. They play a few numbers, putting everyone in the mood to sing along, and then, at last, the main attraction appears on stage to wild cheers and a tsunami of thrown underwear. They play their opening number before cranking up the feeling and the volume in equal parts. Up in the turret bedroom, Mary hangs out of the wide-open window, her face alight with excitement and the reflected glow of the set. The noise is physical. It hits the castle like a hurricane, flies in through the open window to fill Sleeping Beauty's normally quiet bedroom. It penetrates every fibre, pore and orifice of Mary's being. Even the feather duster shakes in fear of the vibrations from outside. Mary is so completely engrossed that she doesn't notice Sleeping Beauty's eyes flutter a few times and open. While Mary stares down at the stage through the open window, Sleeping Beauty slowly sits up and swings her legs over the side of the bed. "Mary, what the hell's that?" says the no longer Sleeping Beauty. Mary spins round in amazement. "What did you say? What the? You're awake! How do you feel? And how do you know my name?" The no longer Sleeping Beauty looks Mary straight in the eye. "Which question shall I answer first? I said, what the hell is all that noise? I've never heard anything like it before." Mary begins to explain about amplifiers, microphones, electric guitars, but quickly gives up on her impromptu lesson. "It's the artist previously known as Prince. He must be the one to come and wake you. And how do you know my name?" "The witch that poisoned me with a sharp needle was very wicked, more wicked than a politician. She made sure that while I slept I would hear everything going on around me, even though I couldn't even blink an eye. I have heard every conversation in this room. Can you imagine how frustrating, as well as revealing, that has been?" No longer Sleeping Beauty walks gingerly to the window, and Mary steps respectfully aside, unable to resist staring at the princess. Despite being both old and young, she is very beautiful. Mary can't help wondering how much a tabloid would pay for a photograph of this moment. "I've lost track of time. How long have I slept?" Beauty asks. "Well, according to this chart, you've slept nearly 95 years. "What year is this, then?" "Come and look at the records. This is 2019. Every sheet here represents a year. I'm the 14th person to look after you whilst you've slept. I've kept you clean and swept away any intrusive spiders." "Well, Thank you very much. But I did hear what you said to your friends about how boring it has been for you caring for me. And what is a selfie? I heard lots of talk about selfies, but I don't know what they are. Mary starts to feel a little guilty. Well, a selfie's a little bit like a portrait. Oh. Beauty looks down at the scene below. Which is the prince? And what are they doing down there? Oh, there isn't a real prince. There's a famous singer called Prince. Well, it was Prince, but no, it's just a squiggle. And actually, it isn't really him. He died a few years ago. This is what they call a tribute band. They're playing and singing Prince's songs. The one pretending to be Prince is that one, in the sparkly, tight-fitting suit. And we call this a concert. People play instruments and sing songs for others to enjoy. The beauty looks at the scene for a few more moments. Oh, troubadours, I get it. But he's no prince, that squirming idiot. He's far too small. I was sent to sleep by a little prick, and I don't want to wake up for another. Squiggle. I'm going back to bed. And so she does. She's soon back on her bed in exactly the same position as before, her lustrous black hair spread across the pillows, just as it has been over the last 95 years. Unsurprisingly, Mary wonders if the whole thing was a dream, but decides she couldn't possibly have dreamt Sleeping Beauty's contemptuous nor the idea that Sleeping Beauty knew how little caring she'd actually been doing. From that day forward, Mary takes much better care of her sleeping ward. She is caring, respectful, and gentle as she dusts the once again Sleeping Beauty. She keeps the room immaculate and touches up Sleeping Beauty's makeup regularly. Mary talks to and sings to Sleeping Beauty while she works, and no more visitors are permitted to pay for sneaky selfies. Pillowcase sales, however, continue to do well. Mary told no one what happened on the night of the concert, not even her friends or Mrs. Turnbull. Slowly she is learning to live with her feelings of guilt, and is resolved to continue caring for Sleeping Beauty for the remaining years. Mary waits for the century-long sleep to eventually end. She keeps an expensive camera by her side, charged and at the ready. Sleeping Beauty continues to sleep on her bed, and Mary, her duster, and the camera continue to wait, full of delicious anticipation.
Sleeping Beauty 2020 was written by Geoff Reiss, recorded by Pam Hilton, with incidental music by Fran Wyburn, and edited by Ruth Mark.